The following is a production of Galactic Netcasts.
Attention! The SciFi Geeks Club is next! Please, stand by.
Live streaming provided by Alpha Geek Radio and Alpha Geek Video. Visit tunein.alphageekradio.com to learn more.
Hear ye, hear ye! Another meeting of the SciFi Geeks Club is officially called to order!
All right, so you've all given the proper secret knock and password, so you may enter the clubhouse. I'm President Dave Nelson, here for this meeting of the SciFi Geeks Club with Brad Ludwig. Hello, Brad.
Hello!
And our guest this week has been on this podcast many, many, many times. Some might say too many times. No, I'm kidding. He's the author of a couple of books, The Life Engineered and The God in the Shed, or A God in the Shed, sorry. You can also hear him on the Overcast and the Right Brain podcasts. Welcome back to the SciFi Geeks Club, JF Dubeau. Hello, JF.
What up, my homies?
Word!
Oh, yeah, Jeff in the house. No, I mean, hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. I'm sure a lot of people are tired of hearing my voice, but that's fine. I don't care. I'm drinking.
No, you haven't been on for a long time, JF. And I wanted you back for a special occasion because this is the 100th episode of the SciFi Geeks Club. So I wanted to make it special, and what would make something more special than having JF Dubeau on?
I make a lot of things special.
You bring the party with you.
You bring the funk.
And yeah, well, that's why I'm drinking.
All right, we'll talk to you a little bit more in a few minutes. Let's start the news first.
Headline news of vital, significant events from every corner of the earth. Spoken news, brought into your home, your office, even into your car as you speed along the highway. This is the news. Here are the headlines.
All right, from Blaster.com, Superman is heading to Supergirl. Warner Brothers officially announced that the Man of Steel will appear in the first 2 episodes of Season 2 of the CW's Supergirl. Casting is currently underway for the iconic role, and the news came via a statement from executive producer Andrew Kreisberg, who said, We're thrilled to welcome Clark Kent and his slightly more famous alter ego to the world of Supergirl. Superman will be appearing in the first 2 episodes of the new season, and we cannot wait to see who next dons the red cape. There aren't any other details, but it is possible that Kal-El will become involved somehow in with the Kryptonian pod that was crash-landed on Earth at the end of Season 1. Are either of you caught up? Brad, you weren't watching Supergirl, were you?
I was not.
Okay.
I am unfortunately also in a situation where it's difficult and or costly for me to watch Supergirl. So I'm waiting for it to be out as a season somewhere, and I'll see what I can do.
Because you're like a cord cutter.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore cord cutter, and also I have so very little time to watch television.
That's true. You should just wait for the 4-night crossover event this fall, because Supergirl is now on the CW with The Flash, with Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. So they're going to do a 4-show crossover this fall sometime.
That's ambitious.
Very. I'm going to be interested to see how that all plays out.
Yeah. It's probably going to be a historical thing because I don't think that's ever happened before. I don't think they've even done 3-show crossovers before, because the only shows that they've technically crossed over with is the Arrow and the Flash.
And the Flash and Supergirl recently. This past season.
Yeah. And I guess, you know what, you could... Okay, so Barry Allen, the Flash, and Arrow. What's his name?
Oliver Queen.
I was going to say Wally. That's
Wally.
Right.
Yep.
What?
Well, Wally West. Yeah.
Wally West is on the Flash now. Yeah. No, Oliver Queen and Barry Allen were on the first episode of Legends of Tomorrow. So you could technically call that a crossover of 3 shows, but not really because the Legends Tomorrow people weren't crossing back over to their shows.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited for the new seasons of all these shows, and I'm particularly excited anticipating or wondering how they're going to bring in, like, how Supergirl's going to change because it's going over to the CW with less money, it being filmed in Vancouver instead of Los Angeles now. And a lot of people are suggesting that, Brad, you've seen the season finale of The Flash, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that that's going to dovetail into that moving over.
Yeah, so that will most likely bring Supergirl into their universe.
Yep.
Yeah. Because things might change a little bit because of what happened at the end of the final episode of The Flash. That's all I'm going to say. Because there might be some people out there that haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet, but spoilers don't bother me.
Okay. Well, let's not talk about it because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody as far as that goes.
Okay.
All right, so Superman joining Supergirl, that's pretty cool. He's only been shown in shadow, obscured by bright sunlight, in instant messenger form because Kira would once in a while have instant messenger conversations with Clark. It was kind of cute, but they never actually showed him. So this is going to be the first time that... And I believe that this is changing. This is just a theory that is not my own. This is something that I've heard other people say, that it could be the result of Jeff Johns taking over the DC cinematic universe as a whole. He's overseeing the whole damn thing. So I think he might be responsible for saying, okay, it's cool that you bring Superman into the TV universe as well. That's just What do you think, Brad? What's your theory on that?
I really think that as much as they've teased it, I mean, from what I understand in the first season, you got silhouettes, you got texting, you got all this other stuff, so I don't know. I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to kind of have him be at a distance and not overshadow Supergirl by you having kind of access to Superman. I thought that was kind of interesting. So it'll be interesting to see how they, have him be in the show even for a couple of episodes and not have it affect that feel. He was like the person that an old friend that you could kind of get on the phone every once in a while. You used to hang out a lot, but not anymore. It was that kind of a feel, and now to have ready access, I don't know.
But hey, you know what? It makes sense because they're moving, and what do you usually do when you move? You call friends.
True enough.
You pay for the beer and pizza, and they help you move. Whatever.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
My worry with something like this is that Superman is an extremely disruptive character to do anything with because he's kind of inherently boring by being perfect and godlike, and it's too easy to use him as a Deus Ex Machina for a storyline, and I'm hoping that's not what they do with that kind of stuff.
Can you repeat the words that you just said?
Like all of it?
No. Just those fancy, complicated words that you just said.
It's too easy to make Superman a Deus Ex Machina. Basically, have him show up to solve any problem just by being there because he's too powerful and too perfect and too godlike. So it makes for an easy solution to create a storyline where Supergirl has something overwhelming to deal with, and instead of solving it herself or having it solved by the strength of her own character and her own allies, it's just Superman shows up. It's like, hey, I'm going to solve everything because I'm Superman.
Well, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, well, so far I haven't seen the show, but I've heard rumors that the writing's excellent, so I'm not expecting them to pull anything stupid like that. It's just it must be tempting to do it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's keep talking to you, JF. What's new in your world? How's the writing going?
Well, here's That's complicated because I have way too many plates spinning right now. Look, to make a long story short, because of listeners of this show's friends like you guys and just many allies and previous readers, I've managed to fund my second book on Inkshares, A God in the Shed. So I need to submit a manuscript for that. The manuscript is done, but I've had to do some revisions because of some notes from a third party. So there's some revisions that need to be applied. I don't know if I made much of an announcement of it, but I had this contest going during the funding of A God in the Shed that amongst the early pre-orders, I would randomly pick someone to be used as an effigy in the book and have a minor character named and in the likeness of whoever won the contest, and then swiftly and mercilessly killed in the story. And Galactic Netcast's very own Brad Ludwig came up and in my random draw. So I'm gonna murder Brad.
It's gonna murder the heck out of me.
I am going to
awesome.
super murder you. It's gonna be fun.
What's Brad Ludwig's profession yeah, that's the right word, in this story?
I don't want to reveal anything yet.
Okay.
It's still a bit up in the air what I'm gonna do with him, but anyways, he's gonna die. That's really the important thing. That's what I was telling.
Die a lot.
So
well, just once.
People can find more information about your books where?
Well, right. The best thing to do is to go to jfdubeau.com/books. Or right now, because I don't have enough on my plate, I got roped in by fellow writers on Inkshare to be part of an anthology of short stories on video games. So right now, that's also funding on Inkshares. I'm not pushing too hard on that because we've already got a ton of pre-orders and it's going super well. And I've already asked a lot of my readers. But if you guys are into video games, you want to check it out, just go to inkshares.com and search for Too Many Controllers, and you'll see the project. It's 15 Inkshares authors, a lot of really talented people in there with really cool ideas. So it's not just I'm not just pushing myself. I'm pushing like 14 other writers have done are doing some really creative work. So go check it out.
Okay, one more thing before we move on to the next story. How is the Overcast podcast going?
It was going super well until we were supposed to record tonight, and Amy slept through our recording time.
Oh,
so
no.
We're rescheduling. No, it's fine. We usually record several days in advance, so she has time to do editing. So it'll fall on her to do a quick job on the editing. But the game has come out. It's fantastic. Doing the podcast has become a lot cooler now that we have a dynamic game that we can play, and we can leave the bitterness of people not being in the beta behind. Everyone that wants to play can play, and we can play with our listeners, and I think that's been really the best experience so far, is being able to get in with people that are listening to the show, get into the game, do some matches, and it's just such a blast as far as games are concerned. It's like a little party every time. I love it.
And we actually met up last night in Montreal with my wife and us three, and you were talking that you guys are getting a few more listeners now that the game is actually out. Do you think that maybe that has something to do with it?
No, definitely because the game is out. We're getting the Overwatch in general is getting more press because Overwatch is getting more press. Anyone that's doing other things that are ancillary to Overwatch, like podcasts and videos, are getting more attention. Whether this is a temporary spike or not, I don't know. Does it mean that we're just going to get more and more listeners? Maybe. To be honest, we've been doing this podcast for over a year. We did a year of that podcast without the game being out at all. So we never did it specifically for listeners. We did it for ourselves and for the love of the game. So in a way, it's cool that we're seeing all these new listeners, but it's not going to impact how we do the how we do the show or anything like that. Yeah. It's just more in a way. it's just fun to have more listeners because we have a larger pool of people that we can play with, which I think subconsciously may have been our goal in doing the podcast in the first place. Just building a huge community of people that we can just you can just jump into the game and play with them and shoot people in the face. It's a good time.
Right in the face.
It's such a good game. It's so good, you guys. So good.
All right, so from io9.com, a new Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy radio dramas in the works. I know Brad is a fan of Douglas Adams, right?
Oh, yes.
Are you excited about this?
I am a bit. Oh, sure. Now everything's just crapped out.
Want me to read the story and then we can talk about it?
Yeah, why don't we? Because my browser just puked.
Okay, so the original Hitchhiker's Guide was a radio drama, in case you didn't know, that aired in 1978, which creator Douglas Adams later turned into a novel by the same name. This new series is based on the book, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, Ian
Colfer.
Oh, Ian, that's Ian!
Yes.
Stupid British people in there.
It's, I think, whoa.
No, British people are good. Sorry, I like British.
Wow, I mean, you have an audience, and I'm pretty sure you have some UK listeners. You might want to watch what you say about it.
No, I love British people.
Look, I'm not saying that I'm gonna do it, but I could theoretically take the show once it's out and just take out you saying stupid British people. So it's out there. Is what
Please
I'm saying.
don't. I love them so much, too much.
Daryl's gonna.
Yeah, Daryl's gonna come over here and finally see me, and then kill me when he sees me.
Yeah, he's Irish.
He is. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, Ian Colfer is. Okay.
Yes, Ian Colfer is Irish.
Ian Colfer wrote this book.
Stupid Irish man.
I hate the Irish.
Jesus, you have to take it that far, right?
So the Irish Ian Colfer wrote a book based on Adams' material following his death in 2001. The 6-part series will air in May 2017 and will include some new material that's never been published. The last radio series based on Adams' book, Mostly Harmless, aired in 2005. So this new one is based on something that somebody else wrote based on the Douglas Adams universe, to sum that part up. According to the British Comedy Guide, the production's still in its early stages, but director Dirk Maggs noted that he's expecting to bring the original cast from the earlier shows: Simon Jones as Arthur Dent, Mark Wing Davey as Zaphod Beeblebrox, and Jeff McGivern as Ford Prefect, with Sandra Dickinson, who was in the original TV adaptation as Trillian.
Nice.
So did you find the thing that you were looking for, Brad?
I was looking for the document.
Oh, okay.
You're like, what do you think of this story? I'm like, I don't know anymore because my browser closed. Ah!
So what do you think of this story, Brad? Now that I've read it, you've read it, or I've read it, then you wrote it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're keeping it simple.
There was lots of reading, and Ian Colfer, oh crap, he wrote a series of books that Alex and I are going to read, and it's the Opal Paradox.
The Opal and the Sandal. That's what they're.
Come on.
Are you trying to look something up?
Artemis Fowl series, that's what it was.
Okay.
It wasn't the Opal Paradox. It was the Time Paradox and the Opal Deception is book 4. He can write a very good, funny story. He's written more than just the Artemis Fowl stuff, but he can do this, absolutely. And I'm really kind of interested in this 6-part series, and we're going to have to wait 11 months.
Okay. This really goes back to the way they originally did it with the first story. It was introduced on radio and then turned into book form. So this is kind of backwards, but it still goes back to the way they originally did it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've read all the books except And Another Thing. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, and now I need to find And Another Thing and read that. Yeah, this is backwards from the way it was done before, but you know what? I think that Douglas Adams would be 100% cool with that.
So knowing Ian Coffer's writing style, do you think he can write it, or do you think it's because the book is out? So do you think it would be in the tone of Douglas Adams, the style of the original story?
I do. I do. I think he's that talented of a writer that he could do that.
Okay, awesome. JF, any thoughts before we move on? I know that you're not really a fan, but
I'm a big fan of Douglas Adams, and what I'm hoping is that this, because there's a lot of things that we call radio dramas, and I'm hoping this trickles down into some kind of podcast format that's easy to acquire and listen to. I can't read much, but I can listen to a lot of stuff. So being able to get this in an easy to acquire format, like that I don't have to jump through many hoops and get a subscription to this or that, or it's weird things. If I can get my hands on it, I'll definitely listen to it, and I'm actually very excited about that.
I've been going through a phase recently where I don't listen to the same podcasts that I have regularly listened to as much anymore. I've kind of changed my focus to listen to a lot of podcasts about podcasting. It's actually kind of driving me crazy a little bit because I'm like finding these. I wish I would have listened to these podcasts years ago when we started all these podcasts in the first place. But anyways, I'm thinking about going from that to listening to some radio play drama type podcasts, and this would totally fit into that. So I'm looking forward to it as well. All right. Real quick, before we get into the third story, don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter, join our Facebook, or like us on Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can watch our shows later by searching Galactic Netcasts or clicking on the links on our website. Our website address is gncasts.com, and there's some social media, social icons in the very upper right-hand corner of every page. Just click on the corresponding ones, and you'll find us there.
Dave?
Yes?
The clarity of your voice improved, which makes me wonder if we're still on Alpha Geek?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I don't know why we'd be off.
Or maybe Lila, sorry, and
Layla.
the crew got off.
Yeah, I think
the internet.
They just came downstairs, so I'm guessing they stopped streaming whatever they were streaming.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Moving on, let's talk about something very cool that I'm super excited about. Neal Stephenson, his novel Seveneves is being turned into a movie directed by Ron Howard. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. The story focuses on a catastrophic event that turns Earth into a time bomb. So nations team up to try and push humanity into the stars for survival. Fast forward 5,000 years, and a new race of humans decide to come back and explore their mythical home world that's been transformed in the millennia since they left. And Ron Howard's going to be teaming up with his Apollo 13 writer, Bill Broyles, for this project. So
nice.
I've never read Seveneves. Have either of you?
I haven't read it, but I know a few people who have, and how can I put this? The impressions have been adequate. Most people that I know that have read it have been very excited at the premise and the beginning, but the rest of the book was satisfactory, not exciting. So I don't know how that translates to television, because I'll give you an example. Another book that's being translated to television is Altered Carbon, and that book I read and found kind of boring. I didn't find it very exciting, but I am very, very interested in seeing it for television, because while the story, character, and setting didn't feel very compelling in book format, I can totally see it as a television series, and I think I would be much more interested to seeing it on the small screen than I was reading the book. So I'm wondering if maybe Seveneves isn't something in that vein, if being like put in the hands of a screenwriter, being reinterpreted for a different medium, may give it that extra push that brings it from something that is good and make it something that is great.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is TV or movie. It just says that it's being adapted, or it's Ron Howard is adapting it. It doesn't say adapting it into a film or a TV show, so it could be either or.
Yeah, but either way, it doesn't matter. At the same time, the idea is transferring it to a different medium, because it like. Again, I haven't read it myself, so I might read it and find it boring, or I might read it and find it super good. It's just the impressions I've gotten from people I trust about it is that it's a book that starts out great but finishes good, where it's so much more interesting when a book keeps the same sort of level of interest the whole time, and maybe having it have that translation to another medium get reinterpreted gives it that sort of juice to make it more even of an experience. I don't know. Either way, more sci-fi is always more interesting to me.
Yeah, you know what? Today I saw like 3 other sci-fi stories that I could have included in this podcast, but didn't. Like, there's just so much great sci-fi coming to TV and movies that it's wonderful. I know that After Earth, was it After Earth? What was the Will Smith and his kid were in a movie? Was it called After Earth?
Yes. It was After Earth.
Yeah. That story reminds me of this, and I know that Seveneves came way before that. But it sounds like it's an After Earth situation, but the story happens before and after Earth, where it's like you get to see what happens to the Earth and then when they come back.
Yeah, and it's to be honest, that's a story that's kind of used. I mean, The 100 is a television series that's been exploring that for several seasons. The idea of us leaving Earth and coming back to it, that is not what's groundbreaking about the plot. What's groundbreaking is how it's interpreted and how the story is told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the way, side note, The 100, Stephanie and I decided to stop watching it because it got so convoluted. It's like there's so much going on that it's really hard to keep track of every character and every plot line. It's ridiculous. If you like your shows complicated, that's one.
Yes, I do, actually. I do like my shows complicated. And this is a show that when I started listening to it, the first 2 episodes, and I thought, oh, this is some young adult rehash, regurgitated bull crap, and then episode 3 happens, and I said, okay, 100, you have my attention now, because things take a turn towards the left and go in a very dark, unexpected place. So
where are you? How far into the show are you?
I only finished the first season, and then I had to work on things. This is my life, is where I try to enjoy entertainment, but if I have to choose between consuming and creating, I usually prefer creating. And now that I can create in formats that actually allow other people to quote-unquote enjoy what I create, I tend to not consume as much as I should.
Okay, well, if you ever pick up on it, it gets even crazier than the first season. It's
good. No, I'm down with that.
It's nutso, futso, as I like to say.
I have no problem with that.
All right, I think we have one more. Yeah, we have one more story here, and it's kind of 2 stories in one. They both deal with Star Trek, And thanks to Jeff Cutshaw for posting the first part of the story in our Slack team, our Slack chat team, which you can be part of just by going to GNcasts, that's GNCASTS.com/sign up and sign up to be on our Slack chat team. You can be part of the team and contribute stories just like Jeff did. And this comes from MeTV.com. Star Trek characters getting the Barbie treatment. Mattel has announced it's releasing Captain Kirk, Spock, and Lieutenant Uhura as dolls modeled after the original actors, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and Nichelle Nichols, in honor of the 50th anniversary.
And immediately I call BS on that.
BS on what?
On the fact that it's modeled after the actors.
Well, okay, it's modeled after the actors from the 1960s.
Very optimistic look at Captain Kirk, then. Very, very flattering. Someone really is a fan of William Shatner and decide, they have a very fond, very I say rose-tinted, nostalgic view of Mr. Shatner.
Well, maybe Mr. Shatner was involved in the creation, and we all know what he's like.
No, he could not be bothered.
Anyways, they kind of look like them. They kind of look like the original characters from the original series.
You know what I think? I think they look like the comic book versions of the characters.
All right,
because those were slightly more idealized, if you will.
Okay, so the dolls will come with accessories.
Action figures.
The action figures will come with accessories like communicators, tricorders, and phasers. One of Spock's hands displays the Vulcan salute, while each character will wear authentic replications of the classic costumes. I had Spock, I had Kirk, and I think I had Uhura growing up. Action figures, not not Barbies, action figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure they were less than $35, which these are going for.
Yeah, but you were a kid, what, in like the early 60s? Like, inflation has changed things.
Okay, wait a second. Jeff, do the math for me. Early 60s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I was born in 1967. I didn't really, and I was not even like aware of my surroundings until the 1970s, probably. No. Please get that right.
I stand by my statement.
Anyways, they can order them now, and they won't ship until July. All right.
Well, July is like less than a month away. It's fine. It's cool. Calm down, everyone.
Okay, the second half of the story is the really cool. I'm really excited about this. Yay for Canada, because the Canadian Mint is releasing, or they have released, a Delta-shaped coin, and it's real currency. You can use this for exchanges of products and services. You won't want to, but you could, theoretically. It's part of a complete line of Star Trek-themed collectible currency and stamps, made from 99.99% pure gold. This coin, shaped like the Starfleet insignia worn on everybody's uniform, has a face value of $200, but it'll actually cost you $1,300, or it did, because they're sold out.
All right, I need to clarify something. As a fellow half Canadian, Dave, you have to agree with me that the Canadian Mint seems to be the least well supervised, most left to their own devices branch of the federal government, where they're doing whatever the hell they want, and everything they do is awesome because they seem to be staffed 90% by nerds.
Yeah, no, I agree. I go to the Canada Post location near my house, and I stand in line. I go, holy crap! This is like going to the comic book store. It's like,
I know. It's all Superman and Batman coins. It's like
it's awesome.
Simpson stamps. Like seriously, no one seems to be monitoring what these people are doing. It's great.
Yeah, if they were really doing their job, they'd be like, okay, let's do a stamp of Sir John A. Macdonald or or who's the other one of the founders? The French one.
The French one. I honestly I can't remember. Look, I've been drinking. No, but seriously, you're right. Going to the Canadian post office where we have all the collector coins and all that being sold is really like a trip to a very upscale comic book store where all you have is these collectibles and they're all comic book and geek cultures. Star Trek, Star Wars. It's insane. It's glorious, and one day I want to know why this is happening.
Yeah,
there's very little rhyme or reason to it. It's great. Yeah. I hope they keep doing it, and I hope no one clamps down on it. But how is this being allowed?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're doing it just to stay relevant because nobody really well, I mean, people still use the post office, but I think they're making it sexier than they used to. It used to be,
Oh man, we live in a glorious age when the idea of making something sexy is by having vintage Star Trek be affixed to it.
Yeah.
This is a golden age.
Yeah. Just a follow up. The whole line, there's a bunch of other things, like my wife and I. My wife, we were looking at, there's this one that's like $34, and it's a coin, but then there's a couple of stamps, and it comes in a nice booklet, and we're thinking, you know what, that would be cool. We should get that. It's totally within our budget. $34 is cheap, so we may end up getting that, and if we do, I will show it off on a future episode of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club.
Nice.
And there's a lot of Canadian actors in that original cast. William Shatner's Canadian, James Doohan's Canadian. Who is the guy? Mark Leonard? No, the original Klingon. The person that played the very first Klingon is also Canadian, and he was, I think, they were all featured on stamps as well, like regular stamps. So. All right. Just like you, Galactic Netcast has bills that need to get paid, where most people have rent and utilities every month. We have website and audio hosting, so please consider helping us out by going to GNcasts, that's GNCASTS.com/support. And on that page, you will find links to our Patreon campaign, where you can make a recurring monthly pledge, $1, $3, or $5. Or you can click on that Amazon affiliate link and do some shopping. Either buy the stuff that we recommend on this show, or just buy whatever you need. Buy some toilet paper from Amazon, and a little bit comes back to us, 3% of the sale. It comes back to us, and that's another way of supporting us at gncasts.com/support. All right. Hey, it's time to ask the question.
Dave?
Huh? Dave?
Huh?
Hey, Dave, what's the question?
All right, thanks to Corey Scott and our Slack chat team for sharing this article. The Newsarama website has published the full sci-fi, fantasy, and genre live-action movie release schedule up through, I want to say, 2018 or 2019. And I shared with you guys the link to this list. Did you all look at it?
I'm looking at it now.
Okay. Oh, way to do your homework. Come on, folks.
Look, I'm a busy man. I love how Brad has his calling my BS laugh going on. That's great.
I mean, no.
All right, enough.
You know him too well, and we know JF too well. All right, so on this list are a series of movies, and I want to ask you guys, what two, or of these films, which two sci-fi productions are you most looking forward to? Who wants to start?
I can start, but I am there is a long list of really cool things I want to see in there.
Okay. Before you do, I'm gonna click on it real quick and just kind of do a, just kind of list off the big ones. just to kind of give the
And
listeners.
I will tell you if you're missing any of them.
Okay. Yeah, it's like the major releases, so I'm guessing like the smaller, more indie films will not be on this list. But okay, here's 2016, beginning with this weekend, and this is not really sci-fi, but Warcraft's on the list.
It's fantasy.
Fantasy. Okay, so 2016, we have Warcraft. Independence Day Resurgence. I'm going to skip the ones that are not specifically sci-fi. Star Trek Beyond.
Oh, come on, go back up. Ghostbusters is sci-fi.
Okay, Ghostbusters is
sci-fi fantasy.
All right.
But they have proton packs.
Fantastic Beasts, Fantastic Beats, and where to find them. Yeah. Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
That's one of mine. That's something I'm super looking forward to.
Okay. Let's go into 2017 real quick. I may have made a mistake by trying to list all these off. Okay. The Dark Tower. That's next year already? The Dark Tower?
Yep.
Really? February next year. Holy crap. I thought they just started filming it.
Yeah, but that gives them plenty of time. I mean, this isn't.
It's not really an effects-heavy type film.
Exactly. Like post-production on that is not going to be very long.
Okay. Power Rangers. World War Z. Wait a second. Didn't we already see that movie once?
Yeah, I think this is a sequel. I would rather they just do a sort of documentary style adaptation of the book, but they won't.
Maybe this is World War Z, the apology.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, the actual adaptation of the book.
That would be great.
Also, War of the Planet of the Apes, Valerian, the City of a Thousand Planets.
Wait, where are you? No, okay, keep going, that's fine.
Okay, Alien Covenant, Blade Runner 2.
That's my other one.
Star Wars Episode 8, The $6 Billion Man. That's 2017. 2018, Maze Runner, The Death Cure, The Predator, Ready Player One, the Han Solo Star Wars movie, Transformers Bumblebee movie. Let's see. And then 2019. Wow, we go all the way to 2020. Godzilla 2, Transformers 6, Godzilla vs. Kong, and that's pretty much it. So, JF, I know that you said that's my movie and that's my movie, but go over them again, please.
All right, so I am super looking forward to Rogue One because it's written by my boy Gary Whitta, whom I really like his work so far. Well, not all of his work, but most of his work. And I'm looking forward to it because I like the idea of a side story in the Star Wars universe. I am terrified at the idea that they're doing a bunch of reshoots because recently Hollywood has begun this sort of they're reacting to internet opinions, which I believe is a gargantuan mistake. They should do what they do and try to create the best product they can, independent of how people are reacting to rumors. So I'm hoping that they're doing reshoots because they've found things that creatively on their own end, not because of how the internet is reacting, but because of how they as artists feel, they want to correct some things. That I'm cool with.
How you feel doesn't fill the coffers.
The thing is, I have a feeling that by trying to adapt to how the internet reacts is actually going to do more damage than good.
I agree 2,000%.
By trying to apologize for what they're trying to do preemptively, they're going to make mistakes, and they need to stop listening to the internet because the internet as a whole is really dumb when it comes to art. We've shown that we're not very good as a collective when it comes to judging creative endeavors. So maybe back off. But I'm still very optimistic. I think it has a chance of being a super cool movie, and I'm looking forward to it.
I read that the reshoots were planned, that they weren't a reaction to either what the producers saw of the movie with the initial screenings or what the internet or anybody else is saying. That's what I read.
Which is fine if that's the case. I mean, reshoots. I found it a bit weird when the internet sort of exploded. It's like, oh my God, they're doing reshoots on Rogue One. Reshoots on a movie, especially movies that have a lot of post-production, is not uncommon at all.
Fairly common.
It is very it's a day-to-day thing. Reshoots here and there to add a scene, correct a piece of dialogue, just put some bookends here and there. Like, reshoots doesn't mean that they're shooting the movie from A to Z. Like, they're just redoing a couple of scenes to sort of correct a few things tonally, and that's normal. That's absolutely normal. But the fact that the internet made such a big deal out of it scares me, because whenever the internet puts their hands in the creative process, usually when their hand comes back out, it smells like urine and feces.
Ooh.
Yes. The internet should not be involved in creative endeavors unless it's their own stuff.
The same people that brought us Pixels and Snakes.
Yeah. Anyways, and my second pick is tentatively Blade Runner 2, because here's the thing, I am in love with the Blade Runner universe. I love Blade Runner. I love what they did the first movie. I want a second movie because I feel it's a universe that deserves to be explored more. However, I do have a caveat that I don't know how I feel about seeing Harrison Ford in Blade Runner 2, because Harrison Ford seems like he's lacking enthusiasm for the work.
Or life?
No, I think he has enthusiasm for life, but it feels like he's doing, like, I don't know. Doesn't have the conviction anymore, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the roles he's had that were not very interesting to him, and maybe he's going into this one with more vigor, and that would be interesting. And if that's the case, fantastic, that's great. But I'm very comfortable with the idea of them not giving him too big of a role, because seeing a 80-year-old man doing stunts and being all super noir cop it's gonna be weird.
But you know what? His character wasn't very excitable to begin with. He was very deadpan and serious, right?
There's some chase scenes and stuff like that, and I don't know. I just don't want to hear a bunch of stories about how he freaking got a hernia on set or some crap again. Like, if you're too old to be making movies, enjoy your retirement. You're doing good, Harrison. You're fine. You can put the food on the table, and it's good. Everybody loves you. Don't ruin it. But I'm still very curious. I'm still very excited to see what Blade Runner 2 is going to be. I'm curious to see what Harrison Ford's role is going to be. He's still a very good actor. I still think he can pull it if he can be convinced to give enough of a damn to do it. So we'll see how it pans out. But just you put Blade Runner on something and I get excited. So I'm in.
It's going to be interesting to see where they go with the story. Number one, where do they take it from the original one?
There's so much you can do. It's such a great freaking universe to explore.
It'd be awesome if they actually went off planet, because they talked about that in the original story, right?
No, don't keep the off planet. I don't know. That's the thing. What made the universe so rich is that they hinted at the fact that there was so much more around just what's going on in that one city. But by showcasing too much of it, then it becomes it removes too much of the mystique. You need to keep, especially since if you want to keep that kind of sci-fi neo-noir kind of feel to it, you can't have Deckard hopping from planet to planet and doing that kind of stuff. Because
then he turns into Han Solo, right?
Yeah, exactly. So whatever. Yeah, one movie I'm very apprehensive and not that interested in seeing is a Han Solo movie. I don't know where they're going with this at all.
Yeah. All right, Brad, what's the two movies that you're looking forward to most on this list?
Right now, I'm looking forward to Ready Player One in 2018. The second one, I'm really kind of I'm torn. To say the least, I was kind of saddened that the BFG is about a troll. To me, BFG is something completely different, and it was a gun. It was a gun that you could get.
Big fracking gun?
Yeah. Needless to say, my disappointment when I saw the movie poster was tremendous. I guess for my second, I'm a little leery, but I'm also kind of excited because there were so many different possibilities, and after I saw the first film, it was alluded to that, more could come later, and we're getting that now finally in Independence Day Resurgence. So that's probably my second choice.
It looks pretty slick. It looks really awesome. It looks like a full-on sci-fi film almost in a way.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're acknowledging that a lot of time has passed. So they're not recasting people necessarily. They're not pretending. They're moving forward, and we get to see what the world looks like after aliens not only have been confirmed, almost destroyed the planet, but we've also managed to harvest their tech and try to make it our own. So we get a chance to play in that world more, and it's been a living, breathing world, and it's had a chance to do its own thing, and we get to see it, and I think that that's kind of exciting.
And how the hell did they bring the Brent Spiner character back? Because he died.
I'm very curious.
Did he die? Was that confirmed?
Yeah, that's Anessa and I were having that conversation. We know that he was grabbed. We know that that gas discharged into that room. It was heavily implied that he was dead. That said, when you think about it logically, if a creature were to take over the functionality of something else, you'd think you'd still want it to be somewhat alive. So I'm kind of wondering if he was near death, and he was taken over, and this thing just kind of maneuvered his mouth to communicate through whatever type of ability that they have to hijack somebody's neural network, essentially.
I'm kind of thinking that too.
So it'll be interesting to see how they explain that. But the other thing too, it doesn't look like he's aged. So I'm kind of wondering, is he a hologram? Is he a
flashback?
It could be a flashback. It could it's there's a lot of possibilities there, and I'm kind of excited to find out what the explanation is.
I'm very curious about this movie because it looks like they're trying to make a movie that is unapologetically fun. They're not going to. It doesn't look like they're going to backtrack on some of the campier aspects. They're just telling basically an other story of the same type and just keeping it blockbuster type entertainment without trying to make it over. Like, they're not trying to retell the story and re-intellectualize it. Basically staying true to what Independence Day was originally.
It seems like a fun popcorn movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Brad, your second one was Ready Player One.
Correct.
Are you excited to see what they do with the music? I know music was a big part of this original story, and I know that they had a hard time getting the rights to a lot of those songs.
Yeah. To be honest, that book is on my stack of things to read.
Oh, you haven't read it yet? Okay.
So, I've had friends talk about the book. I know a bit about what the book is all about, what the story's about, and it does, it has a lot of 80s influence things in it. It will be interesting to see. There's so much nerd love for that. If it is not executed properly, the backlash will be tremendous.
I feel sorry for Spielberg if he messes it up.
The nerd rage will be legendary. That said, they've cast T.J. Miller as the troll, which, I mean, come on. If you're going to cast a funny troll, T.J. Miller's probably your guy. As for the rest, I'm excited to see what they do. I'm almost leery to, maybe I should wait to read the book until after I've seen the film. I'm not sure.
You should. I have this theory that if you haven't read a book and a movie about the book comes out, watch the movie first, because then the book becomes an extended universe of the movie. Like,
sure.
You walk out of the movie was good, and you go, oh man, I could totally have more of this. You're going to get more out of a book. So then you can read the book and go, look at that.
Very true. All right, then I will do that.
Okay, so I'm going to run through my two.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard decision to make. I don't know much about the story, but Valerian, the city, and the City of 1,000 Planets looks really good. And I know it's based on a French comic book series, which I guess has been around for a long time, the Valerian.
Yeah, that is
series.
Some old stuff.
Yeah. And the pictures that I've seen, and like the footage, like the filming footage, not the actual footage itself, but footage of or filming footage of the filming, it looks pretty awesome. And it's a brand new, like, original story. Like, it's not, I don't think a lot of people in the Western Hemisphere know the story, and I think it's cool that it's going to be something fresh and not like an adaptation, or, well, it is an adaptation, but an adaptation of a story that not many of us know. It's not like a sequel or a retelling. It's an original story, and that is cool in and of itself. Plus, it takes place in space. It's a space.
This is a comic I used to read when I was a child.
Oh wow! Okay.
So that is it's a very old comic. It's very different, very interesting. Like, judging from the images that they're showing, though, it looks like they're doing a very good job of interpreting. I think it's Luc Besson, so I know it's in good hands as far as that kind of thing. And you have to look at it. What did I say? Fifth Element was the kind of sort of environment and thematic and feel that you will probably get from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for that weird European comic book movie adaptation from Hollywood, I think this is actually going to be what Fifth Element should have been originally, in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'm very curious about. I just haven't seen much of it. And what's great about adapting French comic books like that is that even if they don't do a perfect adaptation, and the original fans, which are mostly the French, get really angry, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry to all my French buddies, and I have a lot, but there's two reasons why it doesn't matter. First of all, there's very few of you, and also it's hard to notice the difference between when they're angry about such things and when they're not.
Okay. That's good to know.
Enemies.
Interesting insight. Okay. Gotcha. All right. My second one is near and dear to my heart. It's a show I watched as a kid.
Transformers Bumblebee. I knew it.
No. Shame on you. Slap yourself, JF.
No.
No, we used to play it, as kids. You'd go out and, like, whatever the thing that you're into, you used to play it. and I used to play the $6 Million Man, and I'm so excited that they're doing the $6 Billion Man. It's Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
Yeah. So that, say hi to your mother, I mean, come on. Can't go wrong with Mark Wahlberg. He's Mark after all.
So many ways you can go wrong with Mark Wahlberg.
Anyways, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it hasn't been ever redone. It's the only version of the original story, which was a book, I think called Cyborg. I think. Do you know Brad or JF?
Yes, it was Cyborg.
Cyborg. So I don't know if it's based more on the original book or based more on the original TV series. But I'm pretty excited because it's never been redone before, and this is the first time that it's been attempted, and that is awesome. So the second one on this list is the $6 Billion Man. Of course, they have to adjust for inflation. I was really sad to see. Well, I guess I'm not sad because it hasn't been confirmed yet, but the other remake that I'm really looking forward to that I'm hoping will make this list eventually is Logan's Run. I'm super excited about the remake of that one. So if that was on the list, I would definitely choose that over the $6 Million Man.
See, this is why I make jokes about your age. It's because you pick a lot of old things that they're redoing.
What's wrong with that? It's
nothing, but that is rolling out the carpet for a whippersnapper such as I to make fun about your age.
Ah, shut up! You're never coming on the podcast again, Jack.
Freedom. The curse is lifted.
All right, so
I'm kidding. I love being here. I love coming on. Don't banish me. Don't be like that, Dave.
We would never do that.
It's the waffle talking.
Throwback to last night.
Yeah, yesterday I was convinced by a very tiny waitress to have a Belgian waffle for dessert, and it was delicious and worth the investment.
Yep. I was there. It actually happened. So.
Mm-hmm. And after her shift was over, she scurried back into her little mouse hole.
Yeah, she was very small. She was
small. She's extremely small.
Okay, here's a question. How would you like to get the latest info on what Galactic Netcasts has been up to, say, over the past month?
I would like to just ask Dave in a private Facebook message and have him tell me. So I would like to invite every reader to go on Facebook and friend Dave so that you can message him for instant information about what's going on with the network.
Or you can...
Is that what you were going for?
No, not at all.
Oh.
Or you can go to GNcasts, that's GNCASTS.com/sign up. Okay? You'll find out information about our other shows, like the guests that we've had on, like JF Dubeau, other topics that we've discussed. So if you just listen to this show, the SciFi Geeks Club, or you listen to this or, like, say, Podcast of Terror, another big one on the network, you don't know hardly anything about the other shows that we have. If you were to sign up for our monthly newsletter, you would find out about all these other shows that we do and what they've been talking about over the past month. And we promise, if you sign up for this, you'll only get one email a month, and we will not give your email address to anyone else. They will be kept in a lockbox with the key that'll be frozen in a block of ice or something like that. Anyways, metaphorically at least. So you sign up for the monthly newsletter, gncasts.com/sign up. Also on that page, you can sign up to be part of our Slack chat team, and you can you can personally ask me what's been going on the past month, and I'll tell you. So you can, if you want that option to have a personal conversation with, say, me or Brad or anybody else from the Galactic Netcast Network, you can do that by joining our Slack team, and you can do that by going to gncasts.com/sign up. Okay, we have one more section of the podcast, and here it is right here.
Watching,
Reading.
playing,
Listening.
Making,
watching,
Reading.
playing,
making, N.
Watching.
Reading.
Playing.
Making.
G.
It's time for our ings. These are things that we have entertained ourselves with over the last week that have to do with science fiction. And neither of you have anything next to your name on our document. Does that mean that you have nothing, or does that mean that you have not put it in on the document?
Well, speaking for myself, I'm an extremely lazy man, so I have something, I just haven't put it in the document.
Fallout 4.
For the past month worth of episodes. I take that back. For the past 3 months worth of episodes, Brad's ing has been Fallout 4.
So, how is Fallout 4?
It's pretty freaking awesome.
Okay.
Are you serious? Do you have nothing else?
Yeah, I really haven't.
Because you're too busy playing Fallout 4. I understand. Okay.
Yeah,
Eat, sleep, work, Fallout 4. Got it.
ain't nothing going on but the rent. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Neglecting friends and family.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. It's cool. It's fine.
Bills are getting unpaid. There's
Bills are getting paid. I'm just, I'm not sure how Anessa stands it, frankly. So there you go.
Okay, Fallout 4. Refer to a previous episode for a more comprehensive detail of his ing, which is Fallout 4. I'm going to talk about mine, then JF, you can throw yours in. Mine is a documentary that I found on YouTube called Comic Store Heroes. And I don't remember what year it was. I want to say probably 2011 or so. And it follows the day in the life of this comic book store in New York. And I forget the name of the shop, but it's the biggest comic book store, I think probably, if not in North America, it'll be the biggest comic book store in New York. And there's a few subplots. One of the subplots is a guy he's wrote his own comic book with his own superhero, and he's pitching them to sell it at their store. And the way he does that is he makes a short film based on this hero, this comic book character, which is pretty cool. One of the other plot lines is they're building up for New York Comic Con, and one of the guys at the store is in charge of finding inventory for the rare stuff to sell, not just your new books or the stuff that you can easily get through a distributor. Diamond. It's Diamond, right? That's
yep.
This is
otherwise known as the devil.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I hear. So he is in charge of finding obscure stuff from collectors or auctions, and he's challenged by the owner of the comic book store to find this one comic book that inspired the guy to get into collecting comics in the first place and opening this store. And it's something like Little Devil or something, Little Devil #1 from 1953. So it's not like a Marvel or a DC character. I think it's a more independent type comic book, or from one of the companies that isn't around anymore. So that's one of the other subplots. And then the third subplot, there's a couple more, but one of the other major ones is they got the guy that's in charge of promotion for the store got what is the writer of The Dark Knight, Brad?
Christopher Nolan?
No.
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Yeah, Frank Miller. You got Frank Miller to sign autographs at their booth. Yeah. So that is pretty much the plot of the documentary. I think it was supposed to be the pilot for a series that never got picked up. So that's the vibe I got from it. But it's good as a one-off, and you can watch it for free on YouTube. It's called Comic Store Heroes, and we'll put the link in the show notes. I liked it. JF, what's your ing?
All right, here's what I've been doing. Much like Brad, I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch. But what I'm going to promote to you guys is not Overwatch the game. I want to promote to you guys Overwatch the universe. What's interesting, one of the things that we've been exploring on Overcast is the fact that when Blizzard came out with this game, the game itself is only almost an excuse to create this huge, ambitious multimedia intellectual property, and that is Overwatch. And Overwatch is essentially a sort of sci-fi superhero universe that they're building, and they are just getting their wheels spinning on that. And right now, if you go to playoverwatch.com, you will see that in the media section there are cinematic shorts. There are 4 of them, plus the fifth, which is the intro cinematic, that give a bit of background into the universe. You can read the background of all 21 of the characters. There are, I think, 6 10-page comic books. There's also a graphic novel coming out. Essentially, they're gearing up to have the game be a founding pillar upon which everything else rests. But it's clear that their ambition is to tell stories in this cool, awesome, colorful universe that's set in the near future. And if you enjoy computer games, even if you don't enjoy first-person shooters, I still encourage that you give Overwatch a shot, because it's designed in a way, like a lot of Blizzard games, to be easy and fun to play for people, even if they're not into that specific genre. Like their philosophy of easy to play, hard to master makes it very have a very easy entry point. But even if you're not into computer games, even if you don't want to try it, have a look at the universe, because there's no way that this is not going to spawn more animated shorts, which are gorgeous. These are Pixar quality animated shorts. The characters are fantastic. There's going to be more comic books. There's going to be novels. They are really gearing up to hit this from every angle that makes sense to tell stories, and the stories so far have been just fantastic. So, yeah, Overwatch, guys, it's not just going to be a game. It's going to be so much more, and you should get in from the ground floor if you don't want to miss anything cool.
And we were watching some of the shorts last night when we were hanging out together in Montreal, and they're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go watch them again.
Yeah, they're brilliantly done. So give it a shot.
All right. Thank you, JF. We'll put the links to our ings in the show notes. You can check out those Overwatch shorts, and you can check out the documentary that I watched for you guys called Comic Store Heroes. If you have any feedback for us, give it to us via email, geeks@gncasts.com. You can call our voicemail number. That's 805, area code 805-328-3966. Leave a comment on our podcast page or on our YouTube video, because not only do we put these out as audio podcasts, we also have YouTube videos, which you can find at youtube.com/galacticnetcast. And I'm supposed to say hi to Gary. Gary's watching us right now, so hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Thanks for watching.
We love you.
For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact info, and more, go to gncasts.com/geeks. You can subscribe to this podcast by going to gncasts.com/subscribe, or search for us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Music, or anywhere fine podcasts are offered. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. JF Dubeau, again, I want to just kind of run down briefly the things that you want people to check out of yours and where they can do it.
Right now, if you've read my first book, The Life Engineered, go on Amazon, review it. I'm 9 reviews away from hitting 100, and apparently, from what I'm told, when you hit 100 reviews on Amazon for a book, magical things start happening, and I'm really, really into seeing some real-life unicorns, so let's give that a shot. also, if you're into video games, if you like things like Ready Player One, go check out. Don't just check out my book. Go to Inkshares and check out the current Nerdist contest on video games. So you just go to inkshares.com, click on contests, and it's the first one in line. And there's a lot of cool potential books there that are video game related that you should you should shop in there. There's some things that look just very interesting. So pre-order whatever you want from there. You don't have to pre-order what I'm working on, as long as you pre-order something.
All right. Everybody, thank you for listening to this 100th episode of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. We thank you very much for listening to the last 100 episodes. Please stay with us for the next 100, and we promise to make them more regular. I know we've been a little irregular recently, but we'll get back on track here soon. Starting
the
with
fiber's
this,
helping.
What's that?
I said the fiber's helping.
Yeah, it is. It is helping. Yeah, I'm feeling better already.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I'm Dave Nelson on behalf of Brad. Who else? Gregor, Corey, Matt, Anessa, and JF. We'll talk to you guys all next time.
Bye.
Cheers.
My wife. All right. How do we end this? Okay. I'm stopping.